Hey guys, today I have my computer in front of me and we have a list of over 40 unhinged marketing ideas that will help you as a bookkeeper. So I was scrolling TikTok, as you do, follow me on TikTok if you're over there, and I got on this video where someone was asking for unhinged marketing ideas. And I started scrolling through the comments and I couldn't stop. And then I kept screenshotting them for you guys so that I could talk about them in a bookkeeping context. And then I ended up with over 40. So I arranged them into 5 different groups. I'll tell you what the groups are. So first of all is business cards. Like, you don't think about business cards, but people putting their business cards in weird or creative places. Next, basic but it works. So things you've heard before, but with a creative spin. People doing things like borderline maybe unethical. Like, I wouldn't necessarily recommend these, but it might get your brain like going on something you could do that you feel comfortable with. Next one is creative contacts. And then the last one is using different websites to get clients. So like usually competitors' websites. So let's start with just weird or interesting places that people put business cards. And I do have business cards as a bookkeeper, but sometimes you think they're unnecessary these days. So this person walked down the aisle of an 8-hour flight and passed out their business cards with a promo code. And then so people could shop on their website during the flight. This person says they got clients just from putting their business card on a corkboard in a coffee shop. This guy was a waiter and put his business card in the check when the people were signing the check. Probably the restaurant didn't love that. Hairdresser putting them in dye packets at the supermarket. So that's pretty targeted, right? This person says they put them in the bathroom at the exact level that you'd see when you're sitting on a toilet. And this was in bars, I guess. This person was an Uber driver in a classy neighborhood. And anytime she drove someone nice, she would talk about her business and give them a business card. All right, and then a few of these aren't exactly business cards, but very similar. So this was a lawn mowing startup. So they had ice cold water bottles with their business name and phone number on them, and they'd go hand them out to people on hot days, especially people like working in their yards. Oh, this one was funny. They made a fake $1 bill with the QR code to their website, and then they would pretend like they were dropping money. Oh yeah, and this was similar to the hairdresser. They are a business consultant, so they put their business card in all the business books at Barnes & Noble. This person drove for Grubhub, and they put their product, like a little candy, into each bag as like a complimentary gift. And they said they 3 times their business within a month. So one of the takeaways I had from reading this whole list, that was just a small amount, was one, just the amount of hustle that people have. So they, on an airplane, I'm like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to hand out my business card, and I feel like it'd be kind of annoying. And yes, you have to pick and choose the things that work with your personality. But truly, as an entrepreneur, you have to go outside of your comfort zone. You have to maybe be a little bit annoying. You have to hustle. You have to do weird, creative things to get clients. My next unhinged section is kind of more basic ideas, but maybe with a twist or just something to get your brain going. So this one, anything, I guess, potty is funny. So they sponsored a porta potty at a large outdoor concert, and it had a QR code with their website. This person said every 6 months they do a raffle to their email list. So I've talked before about collecting email addresses for potential clients. So he does a raffle and the winner receives free services for a certain period of time. And he said he actually kind of hand selects who he wants to win the raffle. Oftentimes it's someone that is using his competitor. So a few of these will kind of talk about going after your competitor's client list, which that's not really my style as a bookkeeper. I'd rather like collaborate with another bookkeeper and maybe share ideas, share a client list. But do think about people that already have a client list that is similar to yours. So I've talked about CPAs might have, or financial advisors. They might have like kind of like a client list that you can piggyback on. All right, and this is a social media one. Not everyone loves social media, but I used to work for a bank. Every day in my 30-minute lunch break, I would make a quick video on TikTok talking about the credit business or something to do with the bank. And after a while, he had 300,000 followers in 6 months, and he was able to quit his day job. This next one I really like because it's providing a little bit of value to a client before they hire you. And I've talked about that. You can do a bookkeeping review, maybe even for free, and give them some advice about what you would do differently as their bookkeeper. So this is a guy who works on websites. He'll send a free 5-minute video reviewing the website and the things that they can improve on. And he says he's got 2 clients that way. And as a bookkeeper, you might not need 50 clients. You might only need 7 clients. So if you get 2 clients that way, that sounds great. All right, and this person says it's not unhinged, but they go on podcasts and find ways to share your knowledge. So honestly, there's a lot of podcasters out there who are looking for guests. So if you contact someone that's kind of like at the right level as you, like you wouldn't contact like the Office Ladies podcast that's like super famous if you're just starting out. But someone either in your local area or smaller startup podcast and kind of in a correct niche, oftentimes they will want to hear from you as a bookkeeper. This next one is advice that I have given you. I talked about this in my class, Bookkeeper Marketing Coach, that helps you get bookkeeping clients. But basically, she says she replies to Facebook posts in their niche with specific and tailored advice, and then clients just reach out to her because they can tell she knows what she's talking about. All right, which one do you guys want next? The sneaky ones? Actually, let's first do creative contacts, because these ones are legit ideas about meeting people in real life and different ways you can meet people. All right, this one again is demonstrating that hustle. So they were in a hotel lobby. They heard CEOs talking about how they needed this type of service that the guy is providing. So he paid the cleaning lady to send them the business card with a specific message. So I don't know, that's making a contact in a creative way. All right, this one says that she befriends the wives of the businessmen that she is trying to get to hire her as a consultant. And then she says she's made many genuine friendships that have stood the test of time, because as we know, a lot of times business decisions are run by your partner. So she has found this as a good way to connect to the business owners that she's looking for. This person said she showed up to a high-profile golf tournament knowing which CEOs I wanted to link up with. She was the only woman and she was asked to play for someone that didn't show up. So there are these like golf tournaments happening probably in your city. You may or may not know about them, but there are groups of people that golf for networking events. Oftentimes those people might own businesses. They might be able to afford to hire a bookkeeper. This person says they paid the baristas at a conference $40 each to wear our merch. So if you went, everyone who got coffee that day would see the merch of this person. And there are bookkeeper conferences. I kind of forget what they're called right now. I haven't been to one, but a lot of people do that. The next one says go to a really wealthy neighborhood, dress up nice, and have a picnic in the park. She said she met a nice older woman walking her dog and connected her to another business contact. So my lesson here is when you're going out in public, be intentional about talking about your business. All right, this one's funny. I almost put this one in the sneaky category, but they said they applied to 10 MBA programs and got into 7. And then they attended all 8 of the admissions day events and got customers that way. So that's going pretty extreme to apply for a business school, to grad school, just to get into this kind of exclusive event. This person used handwritten letters. So they are a small town service business and the local paper published all the kids' names that made the honor roll, and they also listed anniversaries and weddings, and then they sent a handwritten congratulations letter on the company stationery. So yeah, just reaching out to the local people and getting your name known. There were 2 that talked about hanging out or eating lunch where your clients are. So this person used to sit in my largest client's cafeteria at lunchtime and talk to people there, and they got clients that way. Oh, this person says my mentor made me go to a mall food court and stand and rehearse my pitch presentation. And then there was a line of people waiting to talk to her. This person says they drove to a coffee shop that was 2 hours away just so they could sit there because they knew that's where the gas and oil executives hung out. So they made an effort to be in the same room as those people. This person went to a conference and they bought a nicer camera and became the unofficial photographer, and then they shared all the pictures, and that was like an opener to strike up conversations with people. So you're at someone's booth, you're like, oh, can I take your picture? I'll send it to you afterward free of charge. So you're providing like a little bit of help. I would actually really like to do this one because I'm someone who likes to take pictures. I have a little bit of an artistic eye, you know, doing what I do. And then it really is an icebreaker and also a way to genuinely connect and, you know, get people's information and get to know them. This person said they dressed up like Santa Claus at a local event and gave out cookies. That's great. All right, and then the last one in this section, I called a bunch of physical therapy offices and asked if I could do an interview for a college project. 8 out of 10 said yes. So I have done this before, asking for informational interviews, or as a college student, I did ask to meet with people to learn about their professions. And they said specifically they ended their talk with a demo of an app that they created. So it was a little bit targeted, but it seemed to have worked. All right, now we've made it to the sneaky, slightly deranged, unhinged ideas. Or maybe you don't take advice from these people, but this person said not paying for a marketing conference and then putting a flyer on every seat in the auditorium. This one says via dating apps. Our project manager would match people up with people working on the companies that we want to target. This one, I'm like, that's really uncomfortable, making or suggesting your employees go on dates with people to get business. is not a good plan for anyone. A few people actually commented that one. All right, this one was funny, but borderline vandalism. I got free labels from a post office, printed QR codes on them for my business, and then stuck them everywhere. And they were really hard to remove, so we got tons of customers that way. All right, this one is found their email and just booked time on their calendar. 30% showed up and I was able to talk to them. Honestly, that's not even dishonest. I mean, you could do that for CPAs in your area if they have a calendar on their website. Same with business owners. All right, this one I've heard kind of similar things before, but she pretended her rental business was sold out by only posting available dates. So she made her calendar look busier than it actually was. The next one I have actually suggested to you as a bookkeeper. So we as bookkeepers like to work as independent contractors, not as employees for the most part. I have a video on that if you want to go watch it. But this person says, as a consultant, I interviewed for full-time jobs, and then once I moved through the interview process and with the hiring manager, I'll pitch hiring me as a consultant instead. So I don't know, you don't want to waste anyone's time. So I would say the less sneaky way to do this is to be upfront with it a little sooner. But I do think that there's something valuable in you can apply for jobs that people think they want an employee, and maybe they actually don't need an employee, but a contractor or consultant would suffice. This person set up a DJ booth on the first Friday art block party that was missing music. Not a single person asked if I was supposed to be there. Hyped my artist collective and gained a lot of fans. That's a little sneaky and also kind of fun. All right, this section is using some kind of website or app to get your name out. This one was just silly. She said, I put my website on every iPad at the Apple store so people would see it when they were like browsing through the iPads. That's kind of like leaving your business card in the hair stuff at the supermarket. All right, I thought this one was pretty clever. I used a realtor app to find all the houses that had just sold, along with using the Airbnb app. And she had a cleaning business. So then she mailed a flyer for her cleaning business to all these potential new Airbnbs that were just sold. So I love that because it's really targeted. It kind of reminds me of that bookkeeper that I talked to you about it like a year ago maybe, that she was specifically a bookkeeper for Spanish speaking yard maintenance people. And so she used different directories and things to get mailing addresses for those target audience. The next person went through hundreds of one-star reviews on Sephora's website for similar products, then found their Instagrams and sent them mine with a code. So that is very specific. Maybe there you could find bookkeepers. And remember, we can look nationally as bookkeepers because we can do bookkeeping for people in other states. Maybe you find a bookkeeper with a really big Google presence and they have terrible reviews. They have 1 and 2 star reviews. Then grab that person's name, figure out what business they are, and contact them and see if they want to hire you as a bookkeeper instead. Okay, this one's similar. Went onto the Discord support channel of our competitor and offered everyone complaining a better product. Discord, I've never used it. I think it's another social media app that the kids are using these days. And this person did the same thing on Yelp. They found the bad reviews and messaged those people.